Okay, well, that one. I think you're probably all good here. You're using the slimming lens, right? I am.
Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner Look. Commissioner Brastad. Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Perfect. And we will then move on to tax claims and abatements. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Gamache. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte. Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that passes. Next, we will consider accepting the regular claims paid over $500 and purchase card claims paid for the period ending September 4th of 2019. Is there a motion to approve? There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner. Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
And that item passes. Next, we will approve the minutes from the August 27, 2019 County Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Brasted.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the minutes are adopted. Next, we have Chair's Remarks. We have two items under Chair's Remarks today. The first is to recognize the heroic actions of several Bunker Beach staff. Their quick thinking and expert response the morning of August 7th turned what could have been a tragic incident into one with the best possible outcome. I'm going to ask our Parks Committee Chair, Commissioner Mike Gamache, to tell us more about the events of that morning. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To say we are thankful to the lifeguards and the other responders to this situation is an understatement. They saved the life of a 2-year-old boy who was found unresponsive in a pool at the water park. Everyone who attended to this boy really kicked up their training in all their efforts, and they stayed calm, they stayed collected, and he's smiling right over there, so that's a good sign right now. Hi. The responders did exactly what they were supposed to do, exactly how they were trained. And as a result, the child was rapidly resuscitated and suffered no long-term health effects from his frightening incident. He can blow bubbles with the best of them. We just noticed that earlier this morning. Anoka County Park Director Jeff Perry is here today also. He'll now share with us some of the specifics about that day and introduce the lifeguards who saved this little boy's life. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jeff Perry, Park Director for Anoka County. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize the Bunker Beach lifeguards, some of which are with us today, and a few other key people that are also with us today that played a critical role in saving the life of Declan. To set the context, what set out to be a routine early August morning at Bunker Beach quickly turned into a critical life-saving incident for the lifeguards on duty that morning. A lost child was reported during Tot Time, which is a program for preschool-aged children and their guardians at Bunker Beach Water Park. Lifeguards immediately implemented Bunker Beach's lost child protocol, utilizing all available staff and park guests, some of which are here today as well, to search the area. Within minutes, the unresponsive 2-year-old toddler was found in a closed pool, not meant for use during this activity. The toddler was immediately removed from the pool, and lifeguards and also a guest that was a certified nurse administered CPR, successfully reviving the child. They continued to care for the toddler, who was alert and crying, and the police officer from Coon Rapids said that was the best noise that he's heard in his career, is to show up to a scene like that and to hear the little toddler crying at that point in time. EMS transported to an area hospital where he was cared for and recovered. The life-saving incident unfolded extremely quickly, and the roles and responsibilities of all lifeguards involved were executed under the intense stressors of time, precise decision-making, the ability to remain calm under pressure. Simultaneous actions involve clearing and securing the adventure pool, search and rescue actions, commands to call 911, retrieving towels and oxygen, actually administering the compressions and CPR, and calming and reassuring the toddler and his family during this time of peril. One of the primary contributing factors behind this successful life-saving incident is based on the strict regimen of training that Bunker Beach lifeguards receive on a regular basis. Every lifeguard is certified through the American Red Cross and receives regular in-service training 2 hours per week. They take their training very seriously. Tony Portazan, who is also here today, he's Anoka County's Recreation Facility Supervisor, along with the lifeguard supervisory team, do an exemplary job in preparing and executing lifeguard training at Bunker Beach Water Park. Thank you for your sound leadership, Tony. Now, I'd like to turn the attention to the true heroes that directly responded to this incident on the early morning in August at Bunker Beach Water Park. As I call your name, if you would please stand. Allison Knaus, Bunker Beach lifeguard. She's not with us this morning. Josephine Meinert, Bunker Beach lifeguard. Andrew Belter, Bunker Beach lifeguard supervisor. And 2 other lifeguards that have some college commitments, as one can understand. Lauren Robertstead is a Bunker Beach lifeguard, and Corinne Jacobson, who is also a Bunker Beach lifeguard. Please join me in a round of applause for these outstanding Bunker Beach lifeguards. In addition to this exemplary team of lifeguards, there are several other key people that played a significant role in saving the toddler's life that equally deserve recognition this morning. As I call your name, please stand. Bonnie Abelin, a guest who pulled the toddler out of the pool. Andrea Miller, a guest and nurse who assisted with the initial CPR compressions, and Miss Miller is unable to be with us this morning due to some other commitments. Officer Brian Plotz, Coon Rapids PD and first responder. Paramedic Daniel McGauley. And paramedic Kevin Miskowick. At this time, I would like to introduce a very relieved mother of the toddler, Miss Shannon Olson. Miss Olson, you're invited up to the podium to say a few words if you wish.
Thank you for having us all here today. Every day since this accident, at least once a day, I've wondered what our life would be like had you not all been there and saved my son's life. And it is a horrific thought and feeling. And I just can't thank you all enough for being there, for thinking outside the box and going and looking at the pool, for using your training to perfection in a high risk or high stress situation, which I'm sure I did not help with the stress any, but you guys all acted perfectly. And for that reason, we're still a family of 4, and I just cannot thank you enough. And like I said before, you guys are all family now. Hi, baby. And thank you. You're stuck with us now because we would not be a family of 4 right now without you all. So thank you.
In closing, Bunker Beach Water Park and Anoka County are extremely grateful for the quick and precise response by the lifeguards, guests that assisted, first responder, and EMS personnel for their life-saving actions that will forever be cherished. With that, Mr. Chair, that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
For telling us about the heroics of our lifeguards and other responders to this situation. It's wonderful that our lifeguards are so thoroughly trained and know just what to do when an incident of this nature arises. And thank you, Ms. Olson, for coming here with your son to recognize these responders for their life-saving efforts. And again, thank you to all our lifeguards and everyone else who leapt to action when it was needed most. What you did that day saved a life. It kept a family together. And I can comment from Anoka County's perspective, I couldn't be prouder. The training that takes place is long and arduous, and I'm sure sometimes people wonder, we're doing this training, but we're never going to have to use it. This is proof that you do need to use it once in a while. What could have been an awful headline and an awful outcome for the family has turned into a very wonderful and emotional time where we can celebrate our lifeguards and the hard work that they do. Again, Allison Canas, Josie Miner, Andrew Belter, Lauren Roberstad, and Corrine Jacobson were the lifeguards on duty that day that I won't say went above and beyond the call of duty. It was your duty, but you did it. And a lot of people fall down in that time of stress. Officer Platts commented earlier today how that stressful point in time is where most people lock up and they can't get it done. Your training paid off. And the way you were raised by your parents, everything you've done in your life to this point, trust me, it's all well worth it when it comes to this family, when the Olsons look back. So thank you. Thank you again, everybody, for being here and celebrating this great day. With that, our second item under Chair's remarks today is to share some information about Anoka Community Connect, which is a one-day event dedicated to helping people who may be homeless or living with others. Commissioner Brasted, Chair of our Human Services Committee, will tell us more about this event. Commissioner Brasted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This year's Anoka Community Connect event is scheduled for 10 to 5 on September 19th at the Church of St. Timothy in Blaine. This event gives people who are struggling to find stable housing access to resources and services that can make a difference in their daily lives. It includes free haircuts, flu shots, blood pressure checks, housing information, and more. Also part of Community Connect is a hiring event that will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Here to tell us more about the event and share some statistics from a survey, our Housing Program Coordinator, Michelle Reed, and Jonna Krantz, Chair of the Heading Home Anoka Housing Collaborative. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you for having the invitation to have us come this morning and talk about the Anoka Community Connect coming up just next week already. Anoka Community Connect is that one-day resource, a resource fair for people who may be experiencing homelessness, on the verge of homelessness, or may be living with others. In 2018, we had 72 service providers as well as employers. 59 households were served. We had 46 individuals who completed the intake survey, and 37 of which were generous enough to give us their feedback on the event. And listed here are just some of the members and the providers that were there that day. Here's a picture from last year's event with the event in full swing. And just to give you some quick demographics of who completed the survey, roughly 81% of those who attended were either high school graduates or had some college experience. And over 85% had an annual income of under $25,000 per year. The hiring event was well attended by large employers as well as some temporary agencies. And many resources were available during the event, and not surprising that housing and homeless services kind of topped the list. Additionally, sought after resources included rent or deposit assistance, food support, public assistance, and of course then looking for employment. A top service too that was interesting was people wanted haircuts. And it's intriguing, right? Just to know how something so small could make such a difference. And later we do have some radical transformations to show you, but first we want to get to a couple additional stats. Some of the feedback that we received. So 37 guests did complete an evaluation of the event last year, and 6 households were housed as a direct result of coming to this event. And as you can see here, 86.5% said that they would attend future events, in which case, as the community of providers and social service agencies, we're listening. And the event is is next week. And I'd like to introduce Jonna Krantz, who is the chair of the Heading Home Anoka Housing Collaborative, who's going to share with us the details about next week's event, as well as some transformational stories of clients.
Hello. This year's event will take place on next Thursday, September 19th from 10 till 5 p.m. at St. Timothy's Parish down in Blaine. The hiring event will be between 10 and 2, and we will have 13 employers. We will offer a free lunch for anybody who attends, as well as transportation from all of the shelters will be provided by the shelters, and we'll also have some transportation from Columbus, East Bethel, Linwood, and Now Then. So Tiffany, this was one of our radical transformations. So Tiffany came in, she was a single mom living in her car. Her child was living with others because it wasn't safe for them to be in the car with her. She had only time to get a haircut because she had to get to work at Dollar Tree. She said she needed a haircut that was easy because she often went days without bathing, and this was the easiest for her to do. An ACAP application was given to her. However, she told us, I don't read good. So when she returned, we offered her assistance in filling out the ACAP application. She turned it in, and her child were reunited in December when they moved into their ACAP apartment. Kevin is another story. Kevin came in, he was in treatment. He had been in there for 2.5 months. He was in treatment. He had been sober for 2.5 months while in there, had 3 weeks left. Because he was in treatment, he wasn't able to work, but he wanted to come to the event to do some connections. So he came in, and he had a haircut that kind of affected his facial hair. He didn't want to share his story to us, but he did offer it to our volunteers, who then gave it to us. So he is very hopeful that things would come, and he left with a lot of courage and confidence.
So the website is anokacommunityconnect.weebly.com. As we said, the event is next week, the 19th, and we're super excited for the opportunity to have another event for clients to come get connected to resources. So I would like to thank you for your time this morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and also just to kind of leave you with a slight preview of a coming attraction. We will be coming to Human Services. Will be going through the Human Services Committee next month with a grant amendment from Minnesota Housing. We did get an additional award for the Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program. So I will be seeing you again next month through that committee.
Very good. Any questions for Michelle or Jana? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you. Thank you guys both for being here. So I was not at last year's event. I do plan to be there for next week, but I did meet a woman, and Michelle, I think her name is Barb, I could get that wrong, but essentially it was another success story of, she went last year to get services, got herself taken care of, but she ended up, I believe, being an advisory community member for the Heading Home, and so I just thought that was such a great success story, and now she's giving back and engaging and sharing that perspective. So so I'm excited to come this year, and clearly it is a much needed resource for community. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Michelle and Jana, for sharing information about homelessness in our community and how we can offer resources to people to help get them back on their feet. One more reminder about the date and time of the Anoka Community Connect event. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. September 19th, that's Thursday, at the Church of St. Timothy, which is located at 707 89th Avenue Northeast in Blaine. We certainly strive to end homelessness here in our county, and events like Anoka Community Connect help in that noble venture. Last year, 59 individuals received access to services they otherwise wouldn't have had. Hopefully, we can serve more people this year and get them on the right path to stable housing. Thank you again.
Thank you.
With that concludes Chair's remark, and we'll get back to our regular agenda item, number 8, where we'll consider approving the following related to the City of Columbia Heights tax increment financing districts. We have 2 items, A and B. A is to review the proposed modification of the downtown CBD revitalization plan for the Downtown Central Business District redevelopment project and the proposed establishment of the Northeast Business Center tax increment financing district. Well, that's a mouthful, and here to help us through this is Aaron Chirpik.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Aaron Chirpik from City of Columbia Heights. I'm the Community Development Director with the city, and just here to let you know what's happening at the southern outpost of the county. We've got a pretty exciting project and just a brief overview, and we'll be happy to stand for any questions that you might have. So with that, just a bit about the redevelopment site and what's happening with this project. The project location is at the intersection of Central and 40th Avenue, one of our busiest commercial corridors within the city. The redevelopment includes the demolition of a vacant 6-story office building as well as an adjacent city-owned parking ramp. So to provide a little bit of context, the graphic on your screen outlines the project site in red. We're at the intersection again of Central and 40th, the office tower there on the left, and then the municipal parking ramp on the right. This project is located in a transit-oriented development district per the, our updated comprehensive plan amendment. And what's not pictured just outside of the screen would be a bus depot just to the north of the property. Some of the priorities within this district include high-density residential, service and retail commercial development that would be, located on transit corridors. So that's a bit of the background about what's there now and what we're proposing to do. So this is the building. This is the municipal ramp. So the concept as it stands, the city has identified a preferred development partner for the site, and we've entered into a preliminary development agreement. I'll rewind one step. The city's EDA did acquire this site in July. So we're the owner of the office tower, and we've owned the municipal ramp for several years. So we've got a preliminary development agreement with Alatus LLC. Their concept includes 250 to 275 luxury apartments, underground parking, some street level commercial, and one of the more exciting components of the project right now, we're contemplating locating a new city hall at this location. So the city of Columbia Heights has been looking at city hall plans for a number of years, and we've had several development concepts on current city-owned sites. And when this project materialized, a conversation emerged to co-locate here, and it's picking up some steam, and we anticipate that we would have a decision whether or not we would locate at this project location in the coming months. But the plans right now, just to give you a little bit of a visual, so this is the first floor plan. It's a 6-story development that's being proposed. The pink outline would be a city hall space of about 20,000 square feet. The yellow would be programmed as a cafe or coffee shop. And then the parking that you see would actually be covered by the first floor, so there would be no surface parking as part of this project. City Hall residents or customers would drive into that covered parking area and move into City Hall. And then the resident parking would actually be below this, this plate that you see underground. So just some preliminary renderings of the street view on Central, the City Hall entrance with a pocket park that separates the commercial space to the south. Another rendering, very basic at the moment, but definitely get a sense of the prominence of this project for this very important corner in the city. So just TIF, we're submitting for approval of our TIF plan at the moment. It'll be between $8 and $10 million of total assistance needed. The district duration will be balanced by that total need and the amount of assistance that we have. So it's to be determined, but could stretch out as long as 25 years because it is a redevelopment district that's being contemplated. So with that.
Are there any questions for Mr. Chirpik? Commissioner Look?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Kind of being somewhat familiar with TIF, generally it works best with open field, so I'm assuming that there's a tax base on this current property. Is there a problem with the current property, and is there mold, or is there some reason?
Right.
But then the second part of the question is, obviously there's a tax base being generated off this property based on its value and square footage and that. So the increment is above and beyond. Obviously, it's a nice project, looks nice. There's some increment, but you're estimating it's just to be around 8 to 10 million, something like that?
8 to 10 million of need, so that's the gap that the developer would require. The base value of the ramp combined with the office tower is about 5 million, so that'd be the frozen value, and taxes will continue to be paid on that, of course, based upon that value. The anticipated value of the project when completed is somewhere around $45 million. So the increment is significant. The early models are showing about $600,000 annually of increment that would be available for use on the project.
Interesting. Commissioner Meisner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you again. I actually had the privilege of listening to this presentation previously as well. And thank you, Commissioner Look. I was actually just going to expand a little bit about TIF, tax increment financing, because it is a tool to drive economic development in cities. And I just wanted to kind of put in the context for folks. And then the other thing, too, that I thought was important to add, too, when you're talking about the City Hall with this particular proposal, is that the City City Hall is going to have a condo space, so they're going to own that space. And I do think that is important for the residents to think about in terms of, because the city then will have control over their pricing. They're not going to have to worry about in 5 years or 10 years that the pricing is going to shift and taxes being increased in that regard. And then two, I guess I'll just end too, right? So I believe you're having a public hearing in regards to this, right? So I just wanted to also just share that for Columbia Heights residents, and I believe that is, let's see, Monday, September 23rd at 7 p.m. at your City Hall. So just an opportunity for anyone to have commentary about this, that's the time to do it.
Thank you. And I guess I would stress that the City Hall component hasn't been determined, and if it doesn't, they'll fill that void with additional commercial space. It would not be 20,000 square feet, but additional commercial program. But yeah, thank you for the comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chirpik. Seeing no, Commissioner Meisner?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just a follow-up comment. I just wanted to just publicly state too that I really liked this proposal that's up. It seems to make a lot of sense and a really good public-private partnership. So I wish you well and the city well, and good luck with how it turns out.
Thank you.
I'm looking for a motion on item 8A and B. Move them together. Item 8A and B on the floor by Commissioner Gamache. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Commissioner Gamache.
Can I ask one question? I'm not sure if you addressed the part about the building that's currently there.
Right.
And I think you had something you wanted to
I
add.
apologize. Yeah, that was Commissioner's look. For his first part of his question was the deficiencies of the building. So it's been assessed by our consultant that does the analysis for TIF district establishment. LHB engineers have done the assessment of the building to determine that it would qualify per the statutory rules about percent of deficiency. So it has certainly met that threshold. The building itself is gutted from the inside. It's leaking from the roof all the way down to the first floor. Mold considerations, all sorts of deficiencies, but beyond that, the floor plan is certainly functionally obsolete for revitalization or reuse of the existing building. There's been some proposals over the years, but I think we are definitely to the point where we could all agree that the best use would be redevelopment. The ramp, similar ailments, it's got a laundry list of repairs that are needed, that are in excess of $500,000. And it's a poorly designed, low functioning, parking ramp built in the early 80s, and would be best to remove both. So the analysis for the ramp isn't included in the calculus for qualification for tax increment financing, but of a similar condition. So, yeah.
Thank you. Is there further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Luck.
just by way of process, I know that we have had other communities bring information to us regarding tax districts that they're going to be putting together, and I don't recall taking votes on it because I don't know that we necessarily approved that. I'm assuming that we're approving just the presentation to us, but we're not necessarily in a position to approve whether or not the city of Columbia Heights wants to put together a TIF district. That's within their jurisdiction.
I think you're correct, Commissioner Look. They can do these tax increment districts without our approval, but bringing it for our information is beneficial, of course.
Sure.
I think we are today approving a shorter comment period than normal.
Okay.
Normally it's a 30-day comment period. We're doing something in lieu of that to make sure they can have their open house or the way they're supposed to and move along the process. If there's any corrections to that, Mr. Chirpik.
That's accurate. Thank you.
Again, don't get me wrong, I love the presentations, I love seeing what communities are developing and how it plays into the county as a whole, and I love to see development. So, thank you for doing that. I know other people send us letters and it's really impersonal, and if you have questions, too bad. But nevertheless, this is good, so I appreciate it coming before us.
I will comment that the informational part of it is because we won't be receiving taxes for however long they do this. We will have our current base of tax, not the new base of tax for that number of years. So it's information for us for that point of view so we can plan better. Having been a part of a number of TIF districts in Coon Rapids for redevelopment, it is completely different than development TIF districts. it's a whole nother game. And, you know, having somebody assess what a building could be used for and how bad it is and whether it meets the blight standards, and it gets really deep, and it's a lot of work. My accolades to you and your staff for the work you've done, and good luck on your project.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That will pass unanimously. Thank you. Next, we are going to go to committee reports, and we are going to start with the Management Committee report. Commissioner Brassad.
Mr. Chair, the committee met on August 27th, and we have one action item, and that is a request for a new position in Human Services, excuse me, under the Community Social Services and Behavioral Health, effective September 10th, 2019. It's a 1-point FTE waiver coordinator, CDCS, grade 13 position. And this is a position that there has been one full-time equivalent waiver coordinator since 2002. Since then, we have seen a 987% increase in the caseloads in this situation. This position is partially funded through federal and state revenue, and the remaining costs would be covered within the department budget through savings from reduced cost share of a different program. So, Mr. Chair, I would be happy to move that position.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just to flesh out a little bit more details exactly what Commissioner Brostad was talking about these stats, because, you know, 987% increase. What does that even mean? But from 2002, so this one waiver coordinator had 35 case managers and 233 cases. So bring that up to today, and what that one waiver is responsible, or coordinator is responsible for, is 109 case managers and over almost 3,000 actual cases. So just, again, these details are important. I think that the Human Services Department did a great job cobbling together the things that were not funded by the state and federal levels. And I just wanted to point that out so it would be a little bit more contextual in terms of what the 987% actually means. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
And that motion passes.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Brasted. Next, we're going to move into our Transportation Committee report. We had the opportunity to meet here in the Government Center on September 3rd at 10:30. I take that back. We met at Bunker Hills Activity Center in the Cedar Room. A number of commissioners were already in that building for a Parks Committee meeting, so we decided to hold our transportation meeting there as well. We have one action item we brought forward from that meeting for you, two action items, I guess. First is under Highway. The committee will recommend award of a contract to Forest Lake Contracting based on their low bid of $1,890,525.40 for the Anoka County construction project of Hornsby Street from 350 feet south of Trunk Highway 97 to 1,500 feet north of Trunk Highway 97 in the city of Columbus. And I will move that.
I'll second.
And there's a second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye. Terrific. That passes unanimously. And in our survey division, the committee recommends approval of the final plat of Cliffs Westland Acres. On September 3rd, 2019, the Transportation Committee approved the preliminary plat of Cliffs Westland Acres, located in Section 25, Township 34, Range 22 of Linwood Township. Warren and Gloria Westland are the owners, and Sherco Construction, Tom Carlisle, is the developer. This plat meets all township recommendations and ordinances and has been approved in its final form by the Township of Linwood. All recommendations and applicable Anoka County ordinances in effect have been complied with. So we're looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Motion by Commissioner Brasted,
Second.
second by Commissioner Meisner. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that passes unanimous. The rest is there for informational purposes, and that will conclude the Transportation Committee report. We will now move on to Intergovernmental and Community Relations Committee report. Commissioner Brasted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee met on September 5th, and we have one action item, and that is the committee recommends the county board adopt resolution IG 2019-01, which is a resolution accepting dedicated gifts for Anoka County Veteran Services. There is a list of donors that have donated to our Veteran Service Office, and we just want to recognize them. They are Smokey's Pub and Grill, Hidden Haven Country Club, EJ's Inc., Ham Lake Lanes, Fridley American Legion, Coon Rapids VFW Auxiliary, and again, the Ham Lake Lanes. So we're very grateful for these donations in support of our veterans in our county. And I'd like to offer the resolution.
The resolution has been offered. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte. Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
That motion passes.
And the remaining items are informational. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brasted. Next up is our Parks Committee report. Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Park Committee met on Tuesday, September 3rd at Bunker Hills Activity Center. We have 4 action items before us today. The first one is a bid award on construction of the Rice Creek Maintenance Facility expansion. The county recently issued a request for bid for the construction of the maintenance facility expansion. This is phase 2, the second of 2 phases for this building, and will add the required restrooms and workspaces needed for a functional facility. Bids are open on August 12th, and there were 2 bidders, with Ebert Construction to be the lowest responsible bidder, with a bid amount of $563,300. There were no alternatives on the bid. The total project budget is $687,044 and is being funded through the Met Council's Parks and Trail Legacy Program. Mr. Perry is here with us. I don't know, Jeff, if you wanted to add anything to that regarding this project, or is that good? Okay. So I will move this.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Any further discussion? This is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte. Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Item 2.
Mr. Chair, item 2 is actually to reject a bid on the Lake George Pavilion and restroom improvements. We had we had a request for bid for both of these, and the bids came in. We had only one bid that came in, and due to receiving only one bid, it being over the project budget of $230,000, staff recommends that we rejection of the bid, and that what we would do is go back for bidding to rebid it January or February of 2020. Jeff, did you want to add anything?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, my name is Jeff Perry, Park Director for Anoka County. And yes, that is correct. It was well over our established budget for this project. The reason our budget was shrunk a little bit on this one was due to the fact it was a bonding project, and we had to scale back projects, and that was all the money that was left over for the Lake George project. So we feel confident at the staff level we can bring this back, repackage it, bid it in the winter, hopefully get some more competitive bids for the project.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? So, motion on the floor to reject the bids. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Gamache. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That bid is rejected. Item 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a resolution of support for the Rum River Regional Trail Master Plan Amendment. This is the plan that's up in St. Francis. It's a regional trail. We have 2 proposed changes to the regional trail. The first project is a trail underpass near Bridge Street or it's under Bridge Street, which will eliminate the at-grade crossing of Bridge Street for those traveling north and south. This is kind of a busy road. It's a county road, but it's busy, and we believe that it would be better to go under the bridge, and so that's part of the change that we're making. The second part of that is to realign the trail north of the county park, and this brings it into an area that's closer to the river, which is a much better sight line for those using the trail. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is an area that the city of St. Francis is looking at to do redevelopment and some housing development to go on. So it's good timing to do it prior to the development of these homes, these new homes if they go in, because then everyone's aware of the fact that there's going to be a trail that's going to go there, and it'll be used a lot more once the development is going in. So we are readjusting the trail, and this is the proposed new trail. The new trail is in blue. On our map there, you can see the red on the lower part in the not the dotted red, but the other one is the current trail, and the dotted one was the former trail, or where we had that first alignment. We're shifting that over to the blue trail near the river.
Thank you. Commissioner Look.
Mr. Chair, I want to thank staff for kind of taking the bull by the horns on this one. You know, we kind of rely on residents, or boots on the ground, if you will, in our districts when they bring information to us of issues that they're seeing. In this particular project, the top right picture, it's on our screens, but there we go, top right picture there. Going to the right, went up to Bridge Street as it was indicated. There's as Commissioner Gamache said, it's a busy road, and people, despite the fact there was a pedestrian crossing, weren't stopping. There were residents and strollers and couldn't physically get across the street. And so it was presenting a very concerning safety situation there. And so, again, I want to thank staff for devising this plan. I think going under the bridge here is, again, a better sight line, gets people out of the way of traffic. It's a lot safer. But then additionally, I was getting some pushback from residents on the dotted red line as it was going through neighborhoods. And it may be a not in my backyard type of scenario, not sure, but nevertheless it was concerning to a lot of people. And so by directing along the river, I think we're also successful in getting Isanti County to agree to their connection further north. And as we know, having these type of trails along a wild and scenic river is really I think where long term where it's really going to be beneficial to folks. So I'm thankful for this project, and I'm fully supportive of it. And I know the City Council St. Francis is also supportive of it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Look, I would just extend the conversation a little further and say the original dotted red line for the trail is, you know, when you lay out these plans early on, it's the path of least resistance. There's a road there or a trail there now, we're just going to use that. This makes so much more sense, getting it by the river. Yeah, it's a little more money, but we do have the grants from the Met Council to do that, or the legacy funds. So it does make a lot more sense. It's a good plan.
I'll offer the resolution.
The resolution has been offered. Is there further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That will pass unanimously. Item 4.
Item 4 is to award a contract for Bunker Beach Professional Services. This is for the wave pool replacement project. This is going to the 292 Design Group from Minneapolis, Minnesota for the amount of $466,900. That's Anoka County Contract C0007461. We have had this before us on other committee actions and board actions. As you can see, all the way from February 2018 through July of 2019 on the feasibility analysis. But this is the proposal for architectural design. And we originally had the proposal deadline was August 16th, and we had 3 local proposals that were received. 292 was the most responsible proposer. And this group has also worked with a lot of local projects that are going on, including I believe, working with the Andover YMCA on expansion of their facility as well. So they're well known in the area. The total anticipated funding for this project is $6,533,824 provided through the Metropolitan Council Trails and Legacy Grant and the Anoka County Capital Investment Budget. The project management is anticipated to begin upon fully executed contract and completed by May 28th, 2021. And if I'm not mistaken, Jeff, the plan for the actual construction to begin will be after next season, the 2020 pool season, which, by the way, if everybody noticing out there, we had a great year in 2019, which just ended on Labor Day weekend. But we're going to start this new project, or this project to redo the wave pool area, because it is in need of reconstruction in a number of different areas, and we're going to do a couple changes, including heating the pool area, which I think a lot of people will be happy with if we get those cool June days. But this is for the engineering, and I will go ahead and move this.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Look. Further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Look.
I'd just like to comment that we have a great amenity here, and it attracts a lot of people, and it is at end of life in some of the capacities that it has. And so certainly we're upgrading that, and we're adding actually a new tot area as well now. So it's, I think, going to be a lot more functional for families that have different range of kids, ages. So if they have younger kids and older kids want to be where the waves are. Little kids are a little too small for that, but it's going to be adjacent to that. So the parents will be able to be in close proximity of both kids. I think it makes a lot of sense. That with the heating, I think for the earlier visitors, I think even during the regular summer it's cold, but at any rate in the earlier part of the year, I can't imagine how cold it is, and I think it'll definitely attract a lot more users. And I think it's a great amenity to our county, something we should continue to invest in.
Thank you, Commissioner Look. Further discussion? I would just comment, I would like to extend kudos to previous boards who had the foresight to do this. I mean, I've taken my shots at the previous board for some of their decisions, but this one makes sense. I'm glad they did it. It was a risk, but it's paid off, and perpetuating this at this point by extending, recreating a new life for it with a new wave pool makes complete sense. So I'm all on board with this decision. Seeing no further discussion, we will have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that passes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, we had one committee action item that I wanted to quickly mention. It was to authorize the staff to proceed with a master plan amendment for Coon Creek Regional Trail to include a proposed pedestrian bridge over Coon Rapids Boulevard at the request of the city of Coon Rapids. Again, this is, we're not looking at putting any money into this proposal, but for the city of Coon Rapids, in order for them to go after certain grants that they might want to try to get, it needs to be in our master plan. And it's very similar to what we did in Ramsey for the city of Ramsey and the master plan there, so that we could for the bridge that would go over Highway 10 in that area that's just off of the parking ramp area near their city hall. So we did it here again. Again, we're looking at just changing the master plan to show the bridge on there for the help that might give the city of Coon Rapids.
Thank you, Commissioner Gamache.
That ends my report.
Mr. Chair, I'll just comment on that as well. I know that when folks go out for funding requests, the first question they get asked is it on a plan? And I think this is the first step that is happening now. Maybe should have happened before, but certainly is happening now. And I'm fully supportive of that change, and it helps out the city. I know it's a busy intersection. I know there's a need for this. It's a significant cost to it, no doubt, but not something that can't be overcome by various different agencies pooling funds to try and get this done. So we certainly wish the city of Coon Rapids well in finding those dollars. So.
Thank you. Anything else to come before the county board this morning? Commissioner Meisner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to again share that we are having the first ever Cultural Day celebration here at Anoka County. And that is going on from 11 until 1. It is open to the public, but I certainly encourage all the staff to come and stop by. Outside, we're going to have several ethnic food trucks. Inside, we're going to have informational tables that cover a variety of different cultures that live here in Anoka County. One is Somali, Tibetan, Native American, and the Latino community. So please stop by, whether it's for 10 minutes or for your entire lunch break, but I invite you to do that, and thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Meisner. Anything else? We are adjourned.